Have you ever just stared at a massive skyscraper or some complex new building and wondered, how? Seriously, how does something that intricate actually get built without everything just falling into complete chaos? It's an absolute marvel of planning. But you know, the real secret isn't just having a perfect plan. It's about having a perfect system for when that plan inevitably changes.
Okay, so let's just think about this for a second. Picture it. The foundations are poured, the steel frame is already going up, and then, bam! The blue points change. What do? I mean, do you just tell the crew on the ground to figure it out? This is that critical moment where a project can either spiral into a mess of confusion and expensive mistakes, or it can follow a clear, controlled path forward.
So let's make this real. Let's look at a case study. We've got a project that's already well underway, but then a revised architectural layout lands on the project manager's desk. Now, on paper, it might not look like a huge deal. But in the real world, a change like that is about to send a massive ripple effect through every single system in that building.
To really get that ripple effect, you first need to understand the building's MEP systems. Just think of them as the building's vital organs. Mechanical, that's the HVAC, the building's lungs. Electrical is the nervous system, all the power and data. And plumbing, that's the circulatory system, water in, waste out. So if you move a part of the skeleton, you have to move all the organs too. And that, my friends, is some seriously complex surgery.
So how do you perform that kind of surgery without, well, killing the patient? You bring in the hero of our story, the variation order. This is the official, formal process that's specifically designed to handle this exact kind of problem. It's what turns all that potential chaos into a structured, manageable job.
So what exactly is a variation order, or a VO as everyone calls it? Well, think of it like this. It's a formal amendment to the world's most complicated recipe. It's not just a suggestion or a quick chat. It's a legally binding document that clearly states, okay, here is exactly what's changing. Here is how much extra time it will take, and here is precisely what it's going to cost.
You know, any change on a project can go down two very different roads. Without a formal VO process, you get chaos. You get arguments based on who said what, budgets that just spiral out of control, and huge delays. But if you go down the other path, the one with VOs, you get clarity. Everyone agrees on the new plan, you have a documented record so there are no disputes, and the costs are totally under control. It's really the difference between guessing and knowing.
Now, you might be thinking that a change must mean someone messed up, right? But honestly, that's rarely the case. For projects this complex, change isn't a sign of failure at all. It's just an expected, planned-for part of the process. Things are always going to evolve for a lot of perfectly good reasons.
So let's look at some of the usual suspects. Sometimes it's simple. You just need more or less of a certain material. Other times, you have to add something brand new that wasn't in the original scope. Probably the most common one, like in our case study, is when the architect issues new drawings. They're officially called Issued for Construction Drawings, or IFCs, and they can totally change the game. Or hey, maybe you start digging and hit a bunch of unexpected rock, or the client just decides they want fancier light fixtures. All of these things need a formal VO.
So, a change is needed. How does that go from being just an idea, or a problem, into an official, approved part of the project? Well, it all comes down to a super clear, super meticulous paper trail. There are no shortcuts here.
And this workflow is strict. First up, the contractor has to formally flag the issue with what's called a notice of variation. That's the official, hey, something's different signal. Next, the client and their team review that notice to understand, what's the technical and financial hit. Third, if everybody is on board, an official variation order gets signed by all parties. And only then, in step 4, does the new work actually happen and the contract value officially get changed. Seriously, no work happens without that signature.
And that brings us to, let's be honest, the most critical part of the whole process, following the money. Every single change, doesn't matter how small, has a price tag. This whole system makes sure that that cost is calculated, it's negotiated, and it's approved before a single new wire is pulled or a new pipe is laid.
The absolute key to all this financial tracking is a document called the Bill of Quantities, or the BOQ. The easiest way to think about it is as the project's master shopping list. It literally itemizes every single thing. Ducts, pipes, screws, labor hours, you name it, along with the price that was already agreed on for each one.
Okay, so here's exactly how that VO shows up on the shopping list. The new layout needs 50 extra meters of HVAC duct, it needs 15 more meters of fire pipe, and wow, a big jump here, an extra 75 meters of cable trays.
Each of those new amounts gets multiplied by the rate that was already agreed upon in the contract, which gives you a precise cost for every single item that's changed. So what's the bottom line? When you add it all up, this single design change has a very clear, totally documented financial impact. In this case, it's an extra $35,000 that gets officially added to the total value of the contract. There's no guesswork, no arguments, it's all right there in black and white.
All right, so let's circle all the way back to our case study, that project that had this sudden architectural change. We've seen the process, we've followed the money, now let's see how the variation order actually solved that really complex engineering puzzle on the ground.
So, because they followed the process, here's exactly what got approved and then built. The HVAC ducts, they were completely rerouted. A brand new fire hose cabinet had to be added because that layout change actually triggered a new requirement under the fire safety code. Plumbing drains had to be moved so they wouldn't clash with the new walls. And finally, that extra 75 meters of cable tray was installed to handle a new power load. I mean, that's 4 different systems, all coordinated perfectly.
You know, this quote just nails it. What could have been a total nightmare, a multi-system problem with 4 different engineering teams involved, instead became a single, signed, and most importantly budgeted plan that every single person on that site could understand and follow. That, right there, is the power of the variation order.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? The variation order is just one of these thousands of invisible rules and processes that are running in the background of our modern world. They're the things that turn potential chaos into the incredible structures we see every single day. It makes you wonder, what other systems like this are out there, quietly keeping our world from falling apart?